Lowe's knows how to turn big plans into real results. Whether it's new appliances or a home refresh, get started with 12-month special financing on purchases of $299 or more with a MyLowe's Rewards credit card, January 15th through the 30th. So you can invest in your upgrade now and pay over time. Lowe's, we help, you save. Offer subject to credit approval and cannot be combined. Minimum monthly payment required. See store or Lowe's.com for details.
The Chiefs have done it.
Leaving for Kansas is still pretty raw for me. I haven't had a lot of time to digest everything yet. I know I found myself yesterday seeking and looking for, what people were saying on Facebook, social media. I got a text message, a couple of text messages about it. And yeah, there's a lot of emotion right now. And there's been a lot of conversation around this for a while now. It got pretty hot and heavy a year or so ago. I can't remember the exact time. And there was stuff about the Royals. The Royals were going to move. Are they going to move downtown, North Kansas City? The Chiefs, what are the Chiefs going to do? How can they leave Arrowhead? Mayor Lucas, Frank White, from the viewpoint of the fans and everybody that lives in Kansas City and the surrounding areas, was Frank White and Mayor Lucas kind of dropped the ball. The one thing I did read yesterday was, Clark Hunt and, Mark Donovan mentioned that when they worked with Missouri, they worked with the state, the city, the county. And when they worked with Kansas, they worked with just the state. But I bring all this up, and I'm still trying to process everything. I had a pretty good feeling that this was going to happen. It had gotten to the point where it seemed pretty clear this was the path. And I guess what I'm wanting to talk about today is we're in the era of social media and the instant reaction, the instant gratification, the noise. And so many times I've caught myself for a while now, and I'm working really hard to not do it. And it's so hard because I want to know, or we want to know, what other people think. So I'll be watching, and I don't do this. I really don't do this now. And gosh, it's a good thing. I've made peace with this season. This season from the Chiefs was rough, and I wasn't going to social media to try to make sense of it. I was trying to make sense of it on my own. I think that's my point. Is social media is great, and there's a lot of really great things about it. Facebook is great. You can keep in contact with family and friends. You can see pictures of people that you don't get to see. Twitter's great. X, whatever you want to call it, is great. For myself, I can get the latest sports updates. I feel like that's kind of the best spot for what's happening in the sports world. Yes, but all the other stuff, all the other the negativity, everything's so negative, and it's the saying that if you share something positive, somebody will tell a couple of people, two people. Something negative is shared 15 times. So think about that, and that's really where we're at. And a lot of what the sense of this move to Kansas is, it's very negative, and it's wrapped in how can the Chiefs do this to the city? And I mean, maybe there's a point to that. You know, maybe it's and I found myself searching out opinions yesterday, and I had to kind of stop because I want to try to make sense of it on my own and try to figure out what's in my heart with where this is. It's raw, like I said, and I feel like right now I think I'm at peace with it. I don't know, and I don't want to get too deep into the weeds with this is Missouri's part of it, this is Kansas part, this is what Kansas did, this is what uh, the ownership, this was what Mark Donovan did. It's they wanted more money. I'm trying to be positive with everything in my life and find the good in everything. And so what are the good things that I feel right now that I know it's a dome. It's going to be a dome. You don't have to worry about weather anymore. Uh, so I'm from Kansas City. We moved to Texas in 2020 in the middle of the pandemic. I remember going to visiting here. My wife's from Texas. I remember visiting, and we would go. We were here one summer, and we went to a Rangers game, and this was before they had the inside new ballpark. And we went on a Sunday, and it miserable. It was so hot. I have never in my life sweated and just I felt like an egg on on a black asphalt just melting away. I mean, it was crazy. And so my point is the new stadium that they built, the Globe Life, it's got a retractable roof. It's not. I don't think it has the character that the old stadium had, but it's 75 degrees in August now. And my wife and I have gone to some games, and it's been really enjoyable. So there's some great things about the dome. The cold, the hot's really not so much an issue, but the cold. Now with football, there's a uniqueness to that. It can be fun. Snow can be fun. So I mean, the dome's going to give the Chiefs opportunities to make money from concerts. Um, you know, maybe this hurts the T-Mobile Center, the what used to be the Sprint Center. Um, but I mean, I think overall it's great for Kansas. It's great for that area. It's exciting. I imagine that it's going to be hard to get a ticket for a while. I mean, we've got 5 years left at Arrowhead. I need to make sure that I make it out to Arrowhead in the next 5 years. Take the boys. The boys have never been. I've got a 6-year-old and an 6-year old and a 9-year-old. So that's definitely going to be on the list now to do. But all that said, it's another thing for me to kind of take a step back, take a breath, and really just try to let it kind of simmer for a little bit and not just try to start finding all the negatives with it. I mean, gosh, I've been a Chiefs fan for 35 plus years. and Arrowhead's amazing. Don't get me wrong, and it's going to be sad, and the grass isn't always greener on the other side, and but sometimes it is. Sometimes the grass is greener, and um, who knows in 5 years, Mahomes is going to be winding down, and we don't really know what the future holds for him. He just tore his ACL and his LCL. Will he ever be the same? He's amazing. We'll see what happens. I've like I said, I've made peace with the season that we had. Um, I didn't see that coming this season. We kind of put it together there in the middle, and I was like, okay, we're back, and then we fell apart again. And there's a lot of layers to winning a championship, and talent plays a part of that. Coaching plays a part of that. We saw all that. Sometimes a lot of it is injuries. I was thinking about this a lot this year, and I felt like it was an excuse, but it's not really. But I guess you could say it's an excuse. They've played so many playoff games. They've played so deep into the season. They've played a whole extra season of playoff games. That I think that's really worn on the team physically, obviously, but mentally. And it's human nature. You get to a point where that fire to win a championship, or you missed that, you blew the game, or blew the drive, and what's motivating you is we got to win. We got to win it all this year. We've got to do that. Well, they've done that 3 times, and human nature is the fire is just not going to be burning is hot. And when you're winning, regardless of, and I think the signs have been there last year. We weren't that great of a team, but somehow we made the Super Bowl, but we got destroyed in the Super Bowl. But when you're winning, you're not able to really look through a clear lens and see what you really need to focus on. And I don't think, I know we're not looking through a clear lens right now with the move to Kansas, and it's an interesting time to kind of make this announcement. I don't know if we were in the midst of a playoff run and we were really good, if the timing still would have been now. I don't really know that, but it seems now I had the little bit that I saw yesterday. There was some positivity around it, but I feel like it's a lot of negativity, and it's a lot of um, people are kind of hurt by it, and they're taking it personal, and I think we have to really just try to get behind it and support it and see all the good that can come from it. But it's interesting, and I think it just goes back to the society that we are right now and how negative we are about everything. And it was just kind of a reminder today to look for the positive and really try to form your own opinions. And it's good to have facts. It's good to have some background. How do we do that now, though? It's all gotten pretty foggy. And so what I feel like I try to do nowadays is, what's the truth? How do I find the truth? What feels like the truth, or where does my heart feel? And I mean, that's really where I try to lean into, and it's hard, and I get sucked into the negativity, and I have to kind of pull myself out of it. But think about that. Think about, what is it in your life that that you feel like you're being pulled into, and there's probably a lot of negativity around it. There's a lot of political stuff out there nowadays. There's a lot of sports negativity out there. There's a lot of negativity, and in our community right now, because there's schools closing, and there's very heated arguments around both sides of it, good or bad. We should do this, we shouldn't do it. And I think a lot of times I get a clouded view, instead of trying to come up with what I think is right. I look to what others think's right, and then I try to make my opinion, or I try to make my stance on what other people have said, and it's kind of where we are today. So, something to think about. Thanks for listening.